Hey everyone, my name's Jeff. If you've watched my channel, you've seen all of our fun and crazy Christmas lights, and they're all synced to music. I've got all the PixelLights that I can do all the different color combinations with, and this is now going to be my third year using all these synchronized lights where I can basically sync them up to music. Today I want to give you just kind of a behind the scenes walkthrough of my front yard and kind of show you what goes into putting on a show just like this one. If you want to watch some of the cool light sequence videos, you can go check out our other YouTube channel, which just specifically has all the videos from the light show. That is Tinker Forward Holiday Lights. But in this video today, I'm going to kind of show you all the different wirings that I do for the props, as well as we've got the lights on the house. We've got the Megatree, which I repurpose lights for Halloween and for Christmas. So for Halloween on the house this last year, I had ghosts in the windows. We're going with kind of a candy land theme this year, and so we have spinners or lollipops that are in the windows. And then the Megatree becomes a giant spider web for Halloween, and then we put a bat on the top of it. And then for Christmas here, we switched it out where we took all the webbing down for the spider web and then stuck a star on the top, and we're repurposing the lights for Christmas. So it's kind of cool how you can repurpose things. I mean, even these spinners that are on the windows, I suppose I could have used those for Halloween as well. I mean, they almost would make good eyeballs for those top windows on our house, but maybe that'll be something for next year. Not quite sure. But let's go in a little bit more depth here on everything that's involved with the show. So the entire show is actually running from the inside of my house from a Raspberry Pi, and I'll get to more showing you that stuff here in just a little bit. Essentially, all the programming from that Raspberry Pi is coming out my front door. I've got a Cat 5 cable, and then there's actually an audio cable that I'm running out if I was going to do a speaker out here or something. Main cable is going into my controller that is on this Megatree. Now this Megatree here is 13 feet tall, and I did a complete video showing everything that it took to build this Megatree. This was actually the first piece that I started with one year with my house, and then from that point expanded to the lights that are now actually placed on and installed on my house. But you can kind of see here, this is the Megatree. It's made up, so I'm using these RGB pixels, and you can kind of see the pixels. They're all punched through all the different strands that are on this tree. And this takes quite a bit of time to punch those lights into those strands. And when I say punch them, I'm actually using a pliers, because when you get all of these lights, they just come bundled up like a bunch of Christmas lights you'd buy at a local hardware store. The difference with these pixels, though, versus regular Christmas lights is they have a computer chip that is inside each one of these bulbs, and then that allows them to do different variations of red, green, and blue to create all the different color combinations that I use in the light show. And that's what does, I mean, that's kind of the magic to the lights, because normal Christmas lights you're going to buy, even if they're LED, you're still not going to get that many options as far as being able to change all the colors. But with these pixels, that definitely makes a huge difference. So all these different pixel lights are on these strands, and these strands are all being hung into this tree topper, which is this plastic piece way at the top. And I've just kind of got the star attached. You'll see I'm using some of those pipe clamps, and I've got those two stars up there with those metal pipe clamps. I've got like 3 of them on just some 1/2-inch PVC pipe, and I've got those pipe clamped to the fence post, which is this metal post going down the tree, and that is essentially what's holding the whole tree up. The tree itself is not pounded into the ground. It is just being inserted into a little bottom piece that Holiday Coro also makes. Now I suppose you could pound this into the ground. This is actually this plastic piece here that is being held in the ground by 3 of these little stakes. But this fence post seeds nicely into this foot piece. That keeps it from going anywhere. And then you'll see the, I've got my controller and then another long-range receiver box here powering the star. We'll take a look at those. But let's take a closer look at how these strands are being held down. So each one of these strands has a tent stake. You can go to Lowe's or Home Depot. Harbor Freight actually sells these pretty cheap. But this actually sits into this plastic piece, also from Holiday Coro. It's a pixel string relief tab, I believe, and that's just kind of nice because here, let me pull this out. You don't want to put too much strain on this PixNode strip, because if you do, you're going to snap it, as I've actually had that happen with high winds. And this relief tab here, this little plastic piece, you insert the tent stake into, and what's nice about that then is this can lay flat, and then I've just zip tied the end of this strip together. That's just kind of nice because then you can get the exact amount of strain you want on each one of those strips. Now the other thing is my lights don't actually go all the way down to the bottom. You'll see there's a bunch of empty holes. Now we're in Wisconsin. We do get a fair amount of snow, and even though the lights are waterproof, with having, you know, let's say we get 8 inches, 12 inches of snow, it's not going to bury my lights. So I purposely have left holes at the bottom there. From a distance, when the show is lit up, you don't even realize that there's space at the bottom of the tree. And real quick, as we do in all the videos on this channel, I've hidden Tinker. Tinker is this little hidden robot, and he pops up just briefly at some point in every video on this channel. If you spot Tinker popping up during this video, be the first person to let me know the timestamp. That is the amount of time into this video that he pops up. Let me know that down in the comments section below. If you're the first person to correctly spot him, I will give you a shout out in one of my future videos, as well as we'll add your name to our Tinker Forward Hall of Fame page. I also have the tree anchored using just some nylon cord, and I bought some of these screw down anchors that are in the ground. Again, this tree is holding itself in our high winds and everything, because each one of these strands, it's poked into the ground, and that's what's actually strengthening the tree, is all these strands working together. But just as extra support, there are 3 I call them guide wires that are coming down on the sides, and that's just some nylon rope that you can buy at the hardware store. And there's actually 3 little pieces in that tree topper there where those can anchor onto, and then I have those tied down to the ground. So let's sneak inside the Pixel tree. The main controller for my show, or I should say the only controller for my show, is this right here, which is a Hinks Pix controller. And it essentially, the show itself can be run from just saving files from a micro SD card. And then I've got data from the Raspberry Pi inputting to this, and then there's all these different pigtails that are coming out. You can see them down here on the bottom, these waterproof connections, and they just screw together and screw apart, and each one of these goes to each one of the strands of the tree. Now, it was a little bit of a cost savings to go with 5 volts for these pixels for the tree. I actually have 12 volts on my house, so I saved just a little bit of money by powering with 5 volt versus 12 volt. But essentially everything, including the lights on my house, my arches, those are all being controlled from this Hinks Pix controller. There's these power boxes inside. Now these power boxes are providing power to just the strands that are on this tree. And then I've got an output from this going over to my house. I've got another data that's outputting that goes to my arches and my star. And so that box, which is powering the arches and the star, is actually right up here. This is a long-range receiver. So this in itself cannot control the show, pretty much just relays the information that's coming from that Hinks Pix and provides power to the lights. So essentially there are 2 different panels in here, and each one of these panels will go out to 4 different pigtails. A pigtail is one of these runs that's coming out the bottom. And then essentially it can go wherever you want. I have one pigtail that's able to power each one of my stars. And then I've got 2 pigtails going out to my arches. So there's actually 2 power strands that are running to the top of the tree, that tree topper plastic piece, which here's another view of the inside of it. So all of these strands for the tree are getting rung through the sides. Again, if you watch my Megatree pixel video, I show you in detail how I assemble this. But then there's a hole, a larger hole that's off to the right side. Where's my finger? There it is, right there. And that's where I'm able to run power up to the stars through the inside. So those are the power boxes, and I'm running some power pigtails then across my front yard, and that's taking the power and data to these arches that I built. Again, I did another whole video on how I put these arches together. So these are 4-foot arches. Looking at them from the side, they are starting to bow a little bit, so I might put a support PVC pipe inside either the middle or on the sides, just so that they don't bend as much. From the front, you really don't even notice that they're bending. But I'm just going to show you here, this is what the 4 of them actually look like, all set up together. When you get up close, each one of these arches actually has 50 different pixels, and these are just different Coro pieces that you can buy. I believe these are from Boscoyo, and in my arch video I actually linked to where you can get these. I used a strand of 50 lights. No, actually these guys I used every 2 arches, so there's 50 per arch. I'm actually doing 2 100 strands. So the first 2 have a 100 strand, and then these 2 have another 100 strand in them. You know, during daytime here, they're not perfect. Sometimes this slides apart. I could easily put another zip tie in between. Zip ties are definitely my friend. I've used so many zip ties in my show for all the different props and everything. It's crazy. You can see by looking at the back here, all the different pixels, and then just every, you know, I'd say like every foot or so, I've put some zip ties in. It's not perfect. Honestly, any imperfections, you're really not going to even see them at night when the show is lit up. But essentially that is kind of how I created those arches. And then I put some pieces of rebar. You can get 2-foot sections at probably Lowe's or Home Depot. Here there's a Fleet Farm. Fleet Farm had the best deal on them. But actually pounded those rebar in the ground, and then these arches, I don't know if I can show you here, but yeah, the arches just fit right over that rebar. So, and then this is the end of my strand. I actually have a 3D printer and 3D printed little caps for these pixels, just to kind of seal them up, waterproof them, so water's not getting in there. And as I'm giving you this quick front yard tour, if you're enjoying this video, take a second to smash that like button. I greatly appreciate it. So let's make our way back to the house. And I've done another video on how I put all the different lights on my house. So I'm using those plastic pieces, that Coro that's on there. That's actually the PixelTrim System, or PixelTrim strips that you can buy. What's kind of cool about these is if we kind of get in here, and it's not perfect. It holds the lights nice and straight at night. You can see even my cut job here isn't super perfect. But then if we just kind of sneak around the back, if I bend this down, what I did is use some PVC pipe, because these wires kind of push this away from the window. So I have a little PVC pipe, and I used like a 3-inch screw that actually goes into, I would call it like a C clamp. I can show you a better example of that over by my door. Yeah, here's a good example by the door. You can see here, this PVC pipe is strictly just here as a spacer, and then holding this PVC pipe to the door, this is this little C clamp. And you can 3D print these. Holiday Coro sells them. You can get them all over the place. But then what's nice is when I take all the lights down or put them up at the beginning of the season, all this PVC pipe comes off, the lights stay strapped to the PVC, and I just snap it onto the house. I did all the different corners of the house. I'm lining the rooftop And then I have all the lights going up to the ridges of my house. Right now I've got those wires that are kind of coming down, feeding power. I just like sticking to areas that I can get to with a shorter ladder. Everything that's on those upper windows, I can actually open those windows up and put all those lights up from the inside of my house versus having to climb all the way up there on a ladder. There's PVC pipe behind all those lights on the ridge by my gutter. And you can kind of see here that I've not only done the roof ridge there, but then I've got lights going all the way around and bordering my window. All these lights on the house, I needed another power box or long range receiver. So again, this is from Holidaycoro. Same one that is powering the Star. It's got 4 outputs on this side and then 4 outputs on this side, but this one is solely dedicated to just my house. We have all the different pigtails coming out of that and then running to all the various areas, like going to my front window here, and then all the different runs to the different corners of my house, going up to those top windows as well. My stepfather actually helped install this really nice mounting system. So we were trying to figure out, we didn't just want this box laying out here on our front porch. We did install an extra power box here that's got 4 outlets. And then what we did is actually took some 2x4s, painted them the same color as the siding. And then if I kind of show you the inside here, this is also some more of that fence post, the same stuff that the Megatree is made out of. Just cut a section that's, I'm gonna say like, I don't know, that's probably like 4 feet. Put a bolt right through the middle of that. Put some screws through that 2x4 that is being kind of held to the side of the house. And then again, use some more of those pipe clamps that go through the back of those boxes for tightening the box to that pole. And that's what keeps that long-range receiver nicely mounted on the side of the house. Here's a little better view of those pipe clamps. So you can see here on the boxes, those pipe clamps actually just go through the back of the boxes. They take a screwdriver and you can just punch out those little areas to secure it. Go ahead and get yourself some of these pipe clamps. Go ahead and screw the different power boxes right onto the pole. And then again, that's gonna hold it. And now going into year 3, this has worked really well as far as keeping these things attached and keeping everything upright so that when it rains and all that, these are waterproof, everything stays on. So taking a look at the spinners that I've got on my windows, a little hard to see from this angle, and I guess that's good, but I just have some fishing line that is strung at 4 different corners of that circle. I just added some PVC pipe and some ribbon coming down from the circles, turns them into lollipops, and it works great during the day to make them look real nice, and then at night it's all lit up with the lights. This is the back of one of the lollipops or the spinners, because you can just obviously take off the stick, and now you've just got a wheel or a circle that you can use if you wanted to make it an eyeball or just a different design for your house. And I'll just kind of show you here. So one of the questions I had, you can see all the different pixel lights going into it, and then I'm just powering it coming out of the bottom. One of the things that I was struggling with is how do I mount this thing in front of a window? So if that's something that you're looking at, what I just basically did, this is a piece of Coro, and I just kind of drilled a small hole, and this is fishing wire, and I did this in 4 spots. So 1, 2, and down at the bottom of the circle here, 3, 4. There's 4 holes that I made, and then I just used some fishing line, and I've got the fishing line tied around the edge of the prop, and then the other end of this fishing line is actually going into an O-screw that I purchased. I've got 4 of these, and I actually just drilled it right into the side of my house. I just leave that year-round, and then that fishing line is just tied to that O-screw. And then with the 4 of those, you can see it's a pretty windy day, and the thing is blowing around, flapping a little bit. Not too bad. I suppose I could have cut some of the edges of this fishing line off, but I just wanted to get it up, get everything running. And that has worked very well as far as fastening the different props. For Halloween, I had ghosts in each one of the windows, did the exact same process. I found that like doing each corner, or the, like 2 up top and 2 corners on the bottom, seems to hold it very stable. And then something else that I was trying here with the garage, these are not currently synced up to the music that's in the Pixel light show on my house, but these lights can also be synced to music by themselves using the app. These are a permanent install lights. They're actually stuck to the under ridge of the garage, the eave of the garage there. And right now I've just got them on a pattern sequence, but you can have them go to the beat of music. They're all app controlled. They're from a company called Lumery, and I've done a whole install video on what it takes to get those up and installed and how you can go through all the different settings in the app. But very colorful, very bright, and very cool at illuminating our garage. This is our dog Tinker. He's kind of crazy tonight. But yeah, so I wanted to show you our front window here with all our different elves that are in their bakery. There's Santa checking up on things. But this is also running, and we've just got a projector, reverse projecting inside on a tablecloth that we've got draped in the window. This seems to work really well and very simplistic. You can't actually hear the sound from this outside, but the effect is cool. Here we are on the inside of the video projection. Yeah, hey, how's it going? And essentially just have a projector, very technically mounted here on a book and a video game to get it at the right angle in the window. We only use technical mounts here, like books and video games. None of this official like projector mounts or anything. And of course, we're just on a tray table. And I've got some video clips playing from a laptop computer. And that's essentially providing the video that you're seeing inside our front window. So, and then here at the front of my house, I have, this is where everything is basically running from. So I've got Cat 5 and an audio cable that's going outside if I need it. The entire show is being run from this Raspberry Pi. And so here's that Cat 5 that's coming out. You can see all the different ports on the Raspberry Pi. Now the Raspberry Pi actually has a headphone jack on the side that you can output from. But I found you get a better sound quality. There's this Sound Blaster Play 3. Which I have coming out of the USB. You have to change a setting on the Raspberry Pi when you get this, but it's fairly inexpensive, and essentially it's got a mic input as well as a headphone out on it, and I've just found that this increases the sound quality. This is the Sound Blaster Play 3. I will link to it down in the video description, so if you're interested in checking that out more, I think it's around like 20 bucks. So a great deal to increase your sound coming out of the Raspberry Pi. And then from that point, as people are driving by, I've got my radio station sign outside so they can tune to 91.1. I have actually tried a couple of different FM transmitters. This is the one I'm currently using now. This is the CZE-05B. And this gives me a couple of blocks of FM radio transmission. You can control the sound input. It also has a mic, the sound output, as well as it's got a mic input dial on it as well. It's got the antenna that screws onto the back of it, and then that's outputting the FM signal for all the music of my show. Now, something else that I found that's really helpful that I also would recommend is just for testing purposes, I got myself a little FM AM pocket radio. This one was very affordable, and it's just really convenient to be able to run out and be able to test the frequency in my front yard. Also turning this on here, being able to tell if the signal is transmitting correctly. I mean, you can do the same thing getting in your car and trying it, but just so much more convenient to have this little battery unit. I think this thing was under like 15 bucks. Also a great tool to use just for testing the show to make sure everything's working correctly. So this is kind of the central operation for the light show. I just wanted to show you a real quick snapshot of FPP. FPP is the software that's installed on my Raspberry Pi that is actually running the Christmas show that you're seeing outside. So it's actually, I just hit the play button here before I started recording, and so the show's playing, and I can skip through songs at any time. I can stop songs. Everything's actually set up on a schedule right now, so you can schedule, the show is scheduled to come on tonight's what, Saturday, so 4:30 the show's going to start, and then it runs till 10:30 tonight because it's Saturday. So that is essentially how the show is being run. And then what's nice about using FPP versus running it off a laptop computer or an SD card is I can remote in, and then I can change the content. So I can go to the either the playlist or the file manager. If I go to file manager here, let's say I was working on a sequence earlier today and I want to just quick pop it in, I can just drag the files and the MP3s into here and add it to my files, and then go to my playlists. And you'll see here I've got one for Christmas, I've got one for Halloween. I can go in and edit these playlists, and I can drag songs around to rearrange them, or I can delete them. So I can pretty much on the fly update these playlists. So this entire interface is also mobile. So if I'm standing in my front yard and I want to stop the show or make changes to the playlist, I've also got those options with FPP. That's so convenient. I also did a video recently, so the majority of my equipment is purchased from holidaycoro, and my main controller uses a Hinx Pro. Couldn't really find any good videos out there on how to get the Hinx to talk nicely with FPP, so I made a video on how you can set up a proxy for it very easily. That'll also be linked down below if you want to check that out. And there's also a ton of videos out there that show you how to install FPP on a Raspberry Pi if this is something you want to do as well. So for FM transmitting, I previously was using this guy, which is the Whole House FM Transmitter 3.0. This one worked really good, and I actually was trying out some different ones. I'm happy with the CZE-05B. Seems like it extends the range. This one I was getting kind of just out in my front yard area, and then it seemed like it extended the range like a block or two. Now granted, I was using this. It also comes with a wire antenna. I felt that this one gave a little stronger signal. But with this guy, I get the range definitely down the street for a couple of blocks. So a much better signal, in my opinion, than the Whole House transmitter. So at night, I've got this Tune 2 91.1 sign. Again, something you can pick up at holidaycoro. However, I think next year I might upgrade to a more of a LED pixel panel that I can update using the Raspberry Pi. This is just using solid LED lights, and wow, is it a mess in the back. And again, it's just a static sign. I can't change anything on it. But it works really good. It's nice and bright, lets people know what they need to tune into to actually see the lights synced to music when they're driving by. We've got some of these cool sculptures in the front here with our Candyland theme, some gingerbread men, women, houses, some gnomes. These are all just being illuminated by some LED floodlights, and these floodlights I also did another video on, and these are also app controlled. You can do different color sequences, you can schedule them. These work great for illuminating like different props or things that I have in the yard that are not arches and a Megatree that's changing colors on the house. So I hope this inspires you. If you are also interested in creating a light show, gives you some examples of what I'm doing for the different effects on my house. Something that I definitely enjoy setting up every year, programming, and definitely get a lot of comments from people that appreciate all the work. Down in the video description, I will link to the other videos about all the stuff I talked about in this video, so you can see more in-depth stuff about all the different things I had to go through to set up this light show. My name is Jeff. Be sure to check out the other cool tech review videos and stuff I do on this channel. I do greatly appreciate you guys watching. Happy holidays, and I will see you guys in the next video.